And welcome back. I do apologize for cutting the duct tape a little bit short, but it looks like the ZergLord didn't need as much time as he thought, and we are now diving into our semi-finals match. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have our Brazilian Zerg player representing Team Super. It is the ZergLord. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have the other Brazilian player representing Amantes de StarCraft. It is MasTeR. Here we go. So again, the ZergLord was patiently waiting for his opponents. If you're in the chat, you would have also seen the ZergLord in the chat conversing with his teammate Tapo. They were just Chilean there in the chat, watching the series, watching the match. And now the ZergLord is up next on the chopping block against MasTeR. MasTeR, again, has been looking quite strong in the ZvP matchup, and he's gone back and forth with the ZergLord. Oh boy, this could very well be a finals match that we're seeing right now, and we'll see who comes out on top. MasTeR, he has been trying to make that hero style work recently. The ZergLord has been trying to stop that from happening. We've seen him go for like Ling Bane all-ins, Roach all-ins. Like the ZergLord is very aggressive. It doesn't mean that he can't macro. He definitely can, but he's also not fond of this matchup. A lot of Zerg players aren't fond of this matchup. Oh boy, oh boy. So we'll see what our players have in store for us here. So far, pretty standard openers. No gate expand here from MasTeR. Hatch gas pool from the ZergLord. Nothing too crazy. I guess the only real notable thing is that the ZergLord was forced to take the unnatural natural, which means that it's going to be a little bit more annoying to deal with adepts early on, if we do see adepts. And yeah, we'll see what MasTeR decides to go for in the end. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's really cool that, you know, we have our new map pool and there are certain quirks to certain things, but Data Sea is one of the more standard macro-oriented maps out there. There's no pocket bases, there's no weird inside and out ramps or anything like that. I feel like most players are pretty fond of it. As that pesky probe is going to be dealt with here, so the ZergLord can take his third hatchery on location. Back at home, MasTeR is opening up, not with the Twilight Council, but with a Stargate. Again, this is all pretty standard. What comes out of the Stargate, though, that's going to be the first tell as to what we're going to be seeing. Are we going to see an Oracle? Are we going to see a Phoenix? Are we going to see a Void Ray? Oracle being the much more standard of the three, but you know, every now and then a player would go Void or Phoenix. As the ZergLord, I was curious about something. He's not droning. People, he's not droning. He has a baling nest on the way, and this man, I was talking. There's a reason why I mentioned that the ZergLord sometimes just tries to stop the Protoss player from getting into the hero style. He just wants to stop them from playing. He's going for a Ling Bane all-in. He's going for a Bane bust. Quickly checking the vision here of MasTeR. He did not see the Baneling Nest. He did try to scout earlier, but again, there wasn't really too much to see. The Lings were being hidden purposefully from MasTeR, and it's coming. The Banelings are on the way. The wall is currently not a wall. We don't even need Banelings right now. Oracle is coming out, and the Oracle is definitely going to help in the defense if it stays at home. MasTeR is being oh so greedy, taking a third Nexus, and the army is here. Oracle is staying at home to defend the third base, and it's going to be pretty crucial here as the, oh my god, we see a wall, but the wall is still not a wall. Lings, they just dive on top of the pylon to try and depower all of these gateways. Banelings, they think about going for the natural, but they go for the main. Stalker goes down as well. GG gets called. We don't even see a detonation with those Banelings, as they do detonate after the GG. But just like that, in just under 5 minutes, in 4 minutes and 8 seconds, the ZergLord takes game one. MasTeR was being so greedy, going for a very fast third base. He didn't have a wall. And he also didn't have a wall. So we didn't even need the Banelings to bust through. There was no bust. There was just Ling Bane. GG, a very quick and easy win there for the ZergLord. I was anticipating this series so much. I was like, yo, this could be a finals match. This could be a best of 5. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be intense. It is crazy. Oh my god. And we'll see how this series ends because we're already getting ready for our next game. And it is going to be on Cosmic Sapphire, a map that is much more, if not impossible, to Ling Bane bust on. So I think MasTeR is going to be a little bit safer here. I think we should get a longer game. Should get a longer game. Oh boy. Let's go. Here we go. We're going to be loading on in and we're going to be loading in to Cosmic Sapphire. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have our Brazilian Protoss player representing Amantes de StarCraft, currently down 0-1 in this best of 3 series. It is MasTeR. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the Brazilian Zerg player representing Team Super, already up 1-0 in this best of 3 series after Ling Baning his opponent to death. It is TheZergLord. Aye. MasTeR being punished for his greed, but again, that punishment is going to be a little bit harder to pull off on Cosmic Sapphire. You don't need as many buildings to wall off, so there's no excuse for not walling on this map. And because of that, I'm sure the ZergLord is going to have a different plan in mind. He's going for his unnatural natural. Openers are pretty normal here so far, but we have options on Cosmic Sapphire. It is a larger map, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bases that it can lean towards more late game scenarios. But at the same time, I don't know, like if the ZergLord doesn't want a long series, something like a Roach timing or a Roach all-in, I can definitely see that working as well. Oh boy, we'll see. We'll see if we can get it. So far, again, everything is looking relatively standard. We see the Overlord coming in from the ZergLord just to confirm the opener, make sure there's nothing crazy going on. I guess one of the downsides of this map for Zerg is that there isn't really a pillar close to this natural. It is a little bit off to the side, so it can be that much more difficult for the ZergLord to get eyes on what the Protoss is doing if MasTeR decides to like switch gears and be the aggressor and go for a Twilight Council opener or something like that instead. We'll see, as we already have a little bit of a divergence. We do have an Adept first coming out from MasTeR. Cybercore has finished up, and now the tech building of choice for MasTeR is going to be the Stargate, hidden here behind the mineral line. So the ZergLord going to be in the dark a little bit longer. This should still be an Oracle opener, but yeah, again, MasTeR's going to be in a much safer position here, especially because the ZergLord is making drones. He's making workers. Thank God. Thank God. First Adept already coming out here just to be a little bit of a nuisance, just to try and catch any transferring drones in between the main and the natural. But of course, the ZergLord is too good for that. He doesn't lose anything, doesn't have any drones here in position, knows that he should be banking up drones in his own main base and transferring them later when it's safe. And there it is. We are going to be seeing an Oracle first coming out from MasTeR. So just like last game, again, it's nothing crazy. It's what we expect. MasTeR isn't taking his third base as greedily as he was in the previous game. He's still getting his third, don't get me wrong, but the Adept is here at home to defend. The wall is a wall with a Stalker as well, so a Bane Bust is just not going to work here, or it shouldn't work here. And MasTeR can even be free to move out with his Oracle. Looks like he's being a little bit more scared here. He's taking out the Overlord instead. He doesn't want to risk anything, and he doesn't want to lose his third. I think MasTeR knows that like his strengths lie in the mid game. That's where he wants to be. That's where he wants to thrive. course, with the death of this Overlord, the ZergLord is fully aware of the opener. He's fully aware of the opener. Gonna get a little bit supply blocked after losing that Overlord. A little bit of a feels bad, man. little bit. But outside of that, nothing too crazy here. It looks like MasTeR does want to go for that Blink Stalker follow-up, that hero style. He is working on his third Oracle. First two already on the map. We should be seeing a Forge relatively soon as well for +1. There's that Gateway Explosion. And I look forward to seeing how the ZergLord is going to handle this. So we go, the first Oracle, just dive into the mineral line. 5 drones going down is barely able to keep both Oracles alive there. 1 hit away from going down, but MasTeR does keep everything going. And oh my god, even has a 4th Oracle on the way. He is not stopping. Interesting. This looks like a much more aggressive version of the hero style, because he's delaying his upgrades, he's delaying his Forge and +1, and he's making up for that with more Oracles. This is gonna mean he's gonna have more diving power for getting on top of queens and just eviscerating mineral lines, or just supporting his stalkers as he pushes in. Interesting. We'll see if he ever gets another base. Sorry, if he ever gets a Forge, because he's working on a 5th Oracle. Like, this is all a lot of gas. Has to be careful not to lose any Oracles early on. Again, oh god! The power of this style is to bank up your Oracles and to have a critical mass of them. We can't be losing any early on. We haven't yet, to be fair. Meanwhile, here we go. MasTeR is looking to push out. He's taking a 4th base behind this. He should be setting up a proxy gateway, because with this, you shouldn't be getting a robo, which means you have no warp prism, which means you have no real way to reinforce across the map, unless you have a proxy gate. Meanwhile, 6th Oracle on the way. the Oracles, they just don't stop. And he's going into double Forge from here. Okay, so he's not going all in. Is looking to get into his upgrades, but delaying them heavily for all of these Oracles instead. And I guess it's a way to be safe when doing something like this. He has a lot of energy for these revelations. He's going to be able to clear up a lot of this creep. There's no way for Lynx to really dive on this. But thankfully for the ZergLord, he's not relying on +1 melee. He's going for +1 range instead. He's going for a more Roach Ravager heavy style. Oh my god! But with those 2 stasis traps going up here, the ZergLord just doesn't have enough staying power. It looks like this may be enough for MasTeR to break on through and take this base out. And there we go. We have the aggressive blink on forward. Roaches are trying to stumble out and deal with this, but +1 range is still not done. Queens are doing the best they can to transfuse and keep everything alive, but again, roaches are falling left and right. Here we go. Oh wait, no! The roaches get out of the stasis just to get into another one. Oh. Stasis traps going off left and right because of that. The ZergLord, he's having a much harder time dealing with this. It looks like he still will, don't get me wrong. Meanwhile, that proxy gateway we were talking about is going to be able to finish up here in the face of the ZergLord. More stasis traps going down. This one a little bit premature as it does get triggered by the already stasis units. It looks like the ZergLord still has enough anyway. Oh my god. Another stasis trap goes off. But we have enough queens. We have enough roaches. The ZergLord is going to hold. I was really worried because those were that was the ideal situation here for MasTeR, where the army of the ZergLord was essentially cut in half, but it still wasn't enough for MasTeR to break on through and take out a base. And because of that, now the ZergLord has the momentum. He's done droning. 68 drones is all he needs. Mass Roach, +1 range is 1. The queens are even walking across the map, and they will help out against all of these oracles. Again, I'm sure the MasTeR was hoping for +1 melee. I'm sure he was hoping for a more Ling heavy style. But nah, mate, it's not about the Lings. It's all about the queens. The queens are the roaches. We even have creep. We even have transfusion. You know, but the ZergLord. You gotta calm down, papi. You gotta calm down because these stasis traps are disgusting. You know, they just keep on going off. One stasis trap gets biled down, but the Roach army is really struggling to overcharge, putting in a lot of work here, keeping all of these stalkers alive, and MasTeR holds. Oh my god, the ZergLord, he's back here with a vengeance. Another stasis trap doesn't go off. There's still one more waiting in the backline. The Oracles are trying to do what they can. They activate their pulsar beams. They dive on in. Queens are making short work of them, but the Queens will end up falling. So do the Ravagers. The ZergLord is bleeding out. And the ZergLord is pretty all in with this. Like, his worker count is not very high at all. Like, he's very committed. He was hoping, I'm sure, to end the game then and there. And he probably would have if it wasn't for the stasis traps. Oof. Meanwhile, he's still in this. He's still trying to hold on. It's about whether he can muster a large enough force to go for another counterattack. I mean, MasTeR is bleeding out a lot of Stalkers here, which is definitely good for the ZergLord. You know, he's able to amass more. He's working on a +2 timing. Still hasn't made any additional workers, though. Still making nothing but roaches for that second wave. Oracles, they dive in, but they get picked off once again. What's important is that when the second wave hits, the likelihood of there being multiple stasis traps here is pretty low. This one is definitely gonna run out. We only have 3 Oracles remaining. They don't have that much energy. What energy they have, they're using here to clean up the creep. The ZergLord is looking to remax. There we go. We have another stasis. Sorry, we have another revelation on the main army, but I don't think it matters because the ZergLord is pushing in. And where are the traps, puppy? Where are the traps? They're just not here. Another wave of another wave of Queens waddling across the map as well. Bios connecting, Oracle's doing what they can, but again, they just don't have enough energy to support. We will have another overcharge available here, and it looks like the ZergLord is going for more secure damage. He's going to be going for this 4th. 5th even. And as the game goes on longer, there's that overcharge. We just can't break this position. He's bleeding out too many of these roaches. The first push was going to be the hardest to hold, and it was hard to hold, but MasTeR did hold them nonetheless. +2 is going to finish up in a couple of seconds. But with a bit of an anti-timing, the ZergLord is trying to force his way up the ramp once again. Queens are falling left and right. He just doesn't have enough roaches. The Stalker count is a little bit too strong. This, I wouldn't mind now making a wave of Lings, but I think it's a little bit too late for that. We see MasTeR blinking on forward. He knows he has the advantage despite the upgrades finishing up. +2 is on the way from MasTeR as well. And it looks like he does defend. It looks like MasTeR is going to be tying up this series. MasTeR even double expanding and taking the gold base. Oh my god, he's crazy. +1 melee is on the way. The ZergLord recognizes how crucial Lings are going to be in this position. Can he get there though? Can he survive long enough for that? The answer is maybe. Reinforcements trickling in, but nah, mate. We're full of copium if we believe that. GG gets called. MasTeR ties it up 1-1. GG. GG, well played. The ZergLord, I really liked how aggressive he was in his timing that he was trying to hit. Oh my god, shaking my head. I really liked the timing that he was trying to hit. It's just so unfortunate that he wasn't aware of the stasis traps, because we saw how how close MasTeR was to breaking the ZergLord, and it was impressive that the ZergLord was able to defend in the end. But like, imagine how that fight would have gone without the stasis traps. I'm talking about the first push from our Protoss player going across the map, you know, and how dominant the counterattack would have been as well. Like, it would have been so different. It was so close yet so far. MasTeR takes it, and now we move on to game number 2, and this is where I start to wonder, okay, so the ZergLord, he's already done both things that he's known for. He went for his Ling Bane bust, and he went for his roach timing. You know, these are the kind of things that we expect from the ZergLord. They both almost worked. Well, one worked, one almost did. Now, as we go into game number 3, this is where things become a little bit more difficult because you don't want to be too samey. You don't want to do the same thing again, because the likelihood of MasTeR defending is that much higher. Are we going to see more standard play out of the ZergLord? Personally, I would love to see that, but I also know that that's not where his strengths lie. That's not what he's confident in. There's a reason why he goes for these timing attacks and he goes for these all-ins, because he knows that that's how he's going to win these games. So I wonder, does he have something else? Let's find out. Let us find out. As we are loading on in. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have our Brazilian Zerg player representing Team Super. It is TheZergLord. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have our Brazilian Protoss player representing our Mates at StarCraft, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is MasTeR. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Let's go. Again, to catch people up, game number 1, the ZergLord, he cut workers at 22 drones and he went for a Ling Bane bust. And he just completely caught MasTeR off guard. In game number 2, went for a 68 drone Roach all in. Roach Queen, we even saw the creep highway. And again, it almost worked. It would have worked if we didn't see like 6 stasis traps being triggered. And each stasis trap got like 5 to 6 roaches each every single time. At least 5 to 6 roaches. Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for that, I think we would already be moving on to our next series. It would have. I believe it would have been a 2-0 mate. I believe. Ooh. But now we're here in game 3 in the ace match, and this is where the ZergLord has to bring something else to the table. Or does he? Maybe he does more of the same. Maybe he goes for a Ling Bane all-in on Inside and Out. To be fair, this is one of the maps where walling can be a little bit more awkward, just because it's a relatively large ramp, or it is a large ramp, all things considered, and it's a little bit awkward because it's a little bit of a nook here as well. The pillar is a part of it, and it just makes things a little bit weird. So maybe the ZergLord believes that he can pull something off here as he scouts with the ZergLord, and he gets eyes on the wall. Once again, like every game so far in this series, we see the unnatural natural being taken here. Nothing too crazy. Again, pretty standard openers. Gate expand is what I meant to say here. From MasTeR is going for the Adept first, just to go across the map, just to scout, just to make sure nothing crazy is going on. This is something that he skipped in game number 1, which is why he was that much more unprepared for the Ling Bane bust when it arrived. So again, MasTeR just making sure he's playing this safe and sound. ZergLord getting his 3rd base on time as well at 30 supply. He's droning. We see a Stargate opener coming up from MasTeR, something that we've seen every single game so far. Twilight Council openers are still viable in PvZ. They're just not common. They're just not meta currently. They're not popular is what I should say. People still do it. MasTeR has done it in the past. He does it against Ryu because, man, Ryu will just out macro the hell out of you. What we can see here, just straight up Stargate openers from MasTeR. We're not going to be seeing any weird like DT shenanigans or Glaive Adepts or Charge all-ins or Archon all-ins. None of that. None of that. And we'll see where things progress from here. Again, the ZergLord with his droning, there is no Baneling Nest, so we can rule all of that out. Immediately, Twilight Council follow up from this first Oracle, so we already see a deviation from MasTeR. Huh. As the first Overlord goes down. So MasTeR is delaying multiple Oracles for a faster Twilight Council. This tells us that I feel like this should be a Glaive Adept follow-up. He's still getting the second Oracle, don't get me wrong, but again, the Twilight Council is just so much faster in comparison. Show us the upgrade. There it is. So yeah, because it was so much faster, like it should be glaive adepts. I mean, we called it. It should be glaives from here, and this is dangerous. The ZergLord unfortunately just lost his Overlord. He doesn't see anything. He sees the third base timing, which is very standard, just like a Blink Stalker opener. So he has to rely on his Lings to figure out and see all those adepts as they move out. Meanwhile, Double Oracle moving out across the map, just getting a couple of revelations down. This is very crucial. The ZergLord does go for a safety Roach Warren, so he will have access to roaches once the adepts show up, so he isn't going to be cutting corners, he isn't going to be caught with his pants down. He can also start working on a wall if he so chooses to. That's another option to deal with glaive adepts, is fully walling off your natural base, deny them entry so they're stuck, only dealing damage here at the third. Stuck on the same side as the roaches, ideally. Another bit of a tell here is the fact that we only have 2 oracles being revealed to the ZergLord. You can always assume maybe he has 1 oracle at his third to defend, which is true, but we've seen that MasTeR usually doesn't do that. Like, we've seen him bunch up his oracles and send everything across the map, so maybe the ZergLord recognizes that something is wrong. Here we go, the glaive adepts are moving out across the map, and unfortunately they have not been seen. 3 roaches are on the way. There we go. Wall is being thrown down. It looks like the Ling was able to spot this in time, and the wall is a wall, so the adepts do not break through. They're going to try to. They're going to force their way through this Evo chamber. Do we see a cancel? We do not. We see a kill instead, and the adepts are now in the natural. We see the ZergLord already pulling away his workers just in time, so he hasn't lost any drones so far, which is pretty impressive, but maybe I spoke too soon. The adepts end up shading into the main base. Only 6 drones go down, but the queens are being focused at the same time. Oracles dive in towards the third base. The sage trap's going off. Oh, and they do connect here with those drones. And the adepts are still going unhindered and uncontested in the main. Queens get focused down. More drones are falling left and right. Only 9 for the time being, but 9 is already kind of worth it, and the adepts are not done. Now that they've all been dealt with, we could see a counterattack from the ZergLord. We will see a counterattack because you know what? He was so on point when it came to getting Guile, when it came to getting Roach speed, but 17 drones ended up falling. MasTeR with 69. Nice. Has a insane worker lead right now, and all he has to do is defend the counterattack. Oh boy, that's all that needs to be done, and the ZergLord doesn't go for it. Despite having Roach speed, he had the option, but I think he also recognizes that so much damage was done, and there should be enough at home to defend. So he is just stuck at home with his roaches. More drones are falling. The oracles, they don't care about their lives. They just dive on in anyway. There's no spore in the main. But MasTeR doesn't go for it. Regardless, 7 more workers fall. 24 drones in total have been killed throughout the course of this game, and the ZergLord trying to macro from here is going to be incredibly difficult. I wouldn't be surprised if at a certain point he just cuts workers at 66 and he just makes nothing but Roach Wrath. That's definitely a way to come back. It's still going to be difficult though. Boy, we shall see. Meanwhile, Stalker's dancing already here with the roaches of MasTeR, sorry, of the ZergLord. What's important is that we don't have any forges, so we don't have any upgrades for these Stalkers. Because of the opener, gas was obviously invested in the glaives and the adepts, and now in the Stalkers. So he's not going to have the upgrades, but what he lacks in upgrades, he makes up for in numbers. And we can see here just the ZergLord having a hard time breaking on through, taking a lot of losses, a lot of roaches getting targeted down. And MasTeR's transitioning. He recognizes, hey, you're going into a heavy Roach Ravager composition. Let me just make things easy for myself. Let's go into a Robotics Bay. Let's get into Disruptors. Again, just because of the economic damage done earlier, it's the ZergLord who's struggling to to maintain himself. He kind of is. He still has held onto his base, bear that in mind. He still has like a relatively healthy drone count at 61. Like, he can sustain himself for the time being. It's just he doesn't have a lot of longevity. What you see is what you get. Replacing these roaches is going to be so much more difficult. And he will be outscaled as the game goes on. I say as it goes on, just period right now. Just MasTeR is being so oppressive with his Blink Stalkers, and he's just not giving the ZergLord room to breathe. Meanwhile, the ZergLord just pumping out as many roaches as he can. He's going for a +2 timing behind this. Again, he isn't looking to drone. He isn't looking to take another base. He's looking to try and hit that timing as strong as he can. That's really going to be his only chance. I say his only chance, but like, you know, if there's a world where maybe all of his biles connect, even here, he's going for a counterattack. He's going for a run by it. You love to see it. Unfortunately, disruptors are waiting for him. Up! Oh, but nice splits there. One disruptor goes down. The second disruptor is going to get targeted down as well, just barely. Very good pickoffs here from the ZergLord. Resetting that disruptor count. And likewise, across the map, the ZergLord reclaims control of his 4th base. He gets the high ground advantage as well. MasTeR is falling back. The ZergLord is getting a little bit more momentum here. Oh, not like this though. As his counterattack gets called out. Meanwhile, we can see how committed he is to roaches. He's working on tunneling claws. He's working on burrow as well. He wants to go for a couple of counterattacks if he can to try and equalize. But in one volley, the 4th falls. Ugh. And again, if only burrow was a little bit faster. We see another counterattack being intercepted here by MasTeR. Sure, he doesn't have any more disruptors, but these stalkers still pose a massive threat. +1 attack is already done, +2 on the way, as well as +1 armor. Really, the only chance here for the ZergLord is this, are these tunneling claws. But MasTeR's just constantly in his face. He's just not letting him. He's just not giving him time, not giving him room. MasTeR even expanding on the same side as the ZergLord. Ay, ay, ay. You hate to see it. And it's one of those moments where burrow is done, but the reality is that the ZergLord needs everything at home to defend. He's trying to stop him from coming down from up the ramp. We see the blink on forward. We see a MasTeR around. There is no detection, so the burrow is going to keep him alive for the time being. We see a massive counterattack at the same time. Takes down the pylon, denies the warp in. So the ZergLord will be dealing some damage across the map, but what about that main army? He loses the 3rd. Probes are going to be falling left and right, but you know what? MasTeR is maxed. The only thing he's lacking is detection. Observers are now on the way. We have disruptors, which means he honestly doesn't even need observers. And we see the blink on forward. We're trying to see a MasTeR round from the ZergLord coming in from behind with his Ravagers. What are the biles going to be looking like? There is only one Immortal, and the Immortal is exposed, but who needs Immortals, mate, when you got Blink Stalkers? Oof. Main base for MasTeR is going to be going down, but you know what? MasTeR may lose 1 Nexus, but he got 3 hatcheries in the process. We see another blink on forward, and there's nothing to protect these Ravagers. They're getting picked off one after the other. GG gets called, and MasTeR takes game number 3 and the series. Oof. GG, well played. GG. There's a world out there. There's a world where the ZergLord took this 2-0. Like, game 2 was so close. It was oh so close. But it was not meant to be. In this world, MasTeR does take the series. He moves on in the bracket. And we have confirmation. Oh my god. I love it. I haven't casted Jimena in so long, but Jaime Arturo Duran Silencio Papi is going to be waiting in that next round. He is waiting in the semi-finals. You love to see it. I haven't seen Jim play in months, but he's here and he's going to be playing Zerg. Let's go.